Gonna try this again. Okay. Now we should be in good shape. Hopefully the audio and the video is better. Hey Braxel, let me know if this is any better. Give it a second to connect. I changed some of the stream settings. I think that was the issue. We'll have to see. It looks like it is on my end. It looks like it looks better, but you let me know on your ends how it's looking, how it looks and how it sounds. Sorry about that. I was trying something a little different and I knew as soon as I did it, there was a problem. Much better. Okay, so what I was trying to do, which is stupid of me, in Ecamm, I was trying to stream in 4K. And even though I do have the internet speed to do it, it could be limited by maybe YouTube and the servers. I don't know. But anyway, it looks better. Okay, cool. That's good. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. Let me, looks great. Okay, hey Wes, how's it going, buddy? So we haven't done a live stream in a couple of weeks, and the last few that I haven't scheduled were really successful. A lot of you guys just showed up, and we, look, Braxel said it looks good. Excellent. And I'm right, just finished 30 minutes ago, mixing a song for a client, sent him off the mix, waiting for his feedback, and so I thought, hey, this would be a good opportunity. I could shut the whole studio down, or I could come out here and hang out with you guys for a bit, because we haven't hung out in a few weeks. So that's what I thought I would do. We'll see if anybody shows up, and if they do, great. And if they don't, well, then this will be a short live stream. So hopefully it'll be good. Everything looks good. Nice, 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 nice. Excellent, excellent, excellent. So hopefully you guys, let me just double check my channel here. Okay, it looks good. Okay, good, 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 good. And you don't always know. You don't always know how it's gonna look on YouTube. Oops, let me just go over to the channel so I can keep tabs on it. So did you guys check out the video I posted yesterday? Yesterday? Yesterday. On the Empress EQ. Okay, we're running, we're looking good. So yesterday, there's 8 of you here, great. Okay, so I posted the video. You guys been asking about it every time we come on here. A couple of you guys always say, when are we doing the Audio Gain Lab Empress EQ? When's the video gonna be done? It's been done for at least a month, or about a month, but it just went live yesterday. So hopefully you guys had a chance to check that out. That was a cool video, and got a lot of comments so far on it. People really like it. Several of yous in the comments said you guys either just got one or just bought one, or you're about to call Vintage King and order one. Man, that's really great. It's really great. I don't get anything, there's no affiliate on my end, but I mean, if you guys are getting the product and you love it, that's awesome. Anyone that buys that Audio Gain Lab Empress EQ, you will not be disappointed, I promise you. You will not be disappointed. Guaranteed. You guys will really like it. It's awesome. So Braxel says he likes the video. Excellent. Excellent, excellent, excellent. So that was a lot of fun, that video. And there's a ton of new videos coming. I mean, I've already got about, I don't know, 8 or 10 weeks worth of videos already scheduled for YouTube. There's a bunch of them still coming that are already done. Braxel wants to know, hey, is the Audioscape 1178, oh, I got to talk to you about Audioscape. Let me write this down. I have a few things I want to tell you today, but you asked about it. Braxel wants to know, is the new 1178 from Audioscape going to be 2 separate channels or meant to be stereo only? I'm not 100% sure. I want to say it could be used either dual mono or stereo, but I'm not 100% sure about that yet. I'm going to, this coming Thursday, I'm going to be doing a pre-recorded interview with Chris from Audioscape. He's coming back on the channel. We're doing an interview this Thursday. And I'm going to talk to him about that, some of the other new gear. We're going to chat, you know, everything Audioscape. And then I'm going to ask him during that interview if maybe a month from now, if he'd be willing to come on and we do a live stream with him so you guys can ask him questions directly about Audioscape and his products, which I'm sure he'll do. But the one on Thursday won't be live. That's going to be something I'm just going to do pre-recorded. You'll see the video probably in another month or so. But I'm going to ask him to come on the channel, and I'm sure he will. But I think that particular unit, trying to think, I had some communication with him about it right before it got released. And I remember he told me, and honestly, I don't remember now. I don't remember. Now that I'm thinking about it, my guess is it's just going to be stereo. I think he's made it true to the form of the Yuri 1178, I believe. But that's going to be really cool. I don't believe that's ready to come out. I don't think there'll be product ready for that until the fall. Again, we'll ask Chris on Thursday, but I think that's what they told me. So I don't believe you could buy one now anyway. I don't know if they're going to do any pre-orders. They might. And if that's something you guys want to check out, you may want to check that out. You may want to check that out. I think that'll be a cool unit for sure. I'm still waiting to get their the LA3. I have the VA3A in the 500 rack, but now he's got the full rack mount of the, what looks to be like the old LA3A. And I know that one is coming here to do a video for, because I've already spoken to them about that. When that's coming, shortly, probably within the next month or so. So that'll be here. We're going to do that. That's going to be really cool. So yeah, more stuff hopefully coming for Audioscape. I know they have some stuff coming out at the end of the year I can't really tell you about, but I know there's other things. I know they're working on other products. I also know they just moved their facility to another location in Florida, a larger facility, so they're expanding, which is great, good news for them. And hopefully they're going to be able to develop and come out with new products faster. And maybe I would assume they're going to expand their workforce. I mean, again, I'm going to talk to Chris about this. So they can build more, product. So when you go to order stuff, because right now, as you guys know, or if you don't know, if you're watching the replay of this stream, they only build things in small batches, meaning that, maybe in a week's time, there's maybe, 12 or 15 units available, and it may be like, 2 or 3 of the EQP Pultecs, or maybe, 3 or 4 LA2s, or a few 1176s, and you just have to buy them. And that's one of the things that people, not complain about, but, ask about, are they ever going to get to a point where they have more stuff in stock? So my guess would be that probably yes. I'm sure they're expanding for a reason. You don't go into a new facility for no reason at all. So I would imagine so. But again, we're going to talk to Chris about all things Audioscape, and I'm glad to have him back on the channel. This, I think, will be his 3rd or 4th appearance. And like I said, I'm going to try to get him to come onto a future live stream so you guys can interact with him live and ask him questions and, things that I can't really answer that he might be able to. So that'll be cool. That'll be cool. Let's see, a 500 carrier. I don't know if Audioscape's coming out with a 500 carrier. That I'm not aware of. Maybe. I don't know. It would make sense. They have 500 series stuff. So yeah, I mean, I don't know if they'll build them themselves or have somebody build it for them. But again, I don't know that for sure. I guess it's possible. But yeah, hopefully more good things to come from them. That'll be really cool. So yeah, so I'm just in between mixes here. Again, just finished up a mix today. It's an acoustic rock track, which is really cool. Full drums, mainly acoustic guitars, bass, horns, keys, vocals, background vocals. So that's all on the Origin. And it's coming out really good. And we're going to finish up 2 more songs next week, and then that 5-song EP is done. And then once I'm between projects, next week, a couple of things I want to tell you. So next week, Saturday the 27th, our buddy David S.J., he's scheduled to come back up here to Connecticut, and we're going to film a handful of videos that'll come out on the channel. Maybe we'll be able to jump on here and do a quick live stream. We'll have to see how the day goes and how his schedule is and travel and the weather and all of that. But he's coming up. We're going to do 3 videos, I think, for sure. We're doing He has the new 500 series module of the Black Lion Bluey, and I have the rack-mounted version. We're going to compare the two to see if they sound the same. So he's bringing that up with him, so that'll be fun. He's also bringing up, I think he's going to bring up, he has the Warm Audio Bus EQ, the SSL Warm Audio EQ. I'm going to try to get him to bring that so we can compare it to the compressor in the console. That might be a fun video to do. And then we're also, I think we're going to do, if we have time, we're going to do, I've already done a video for the Trident 80B hardware. You guys just haven't seen it yet. I think it comes out in a couple of weeks, but it's done. But they also make, Trident actually makes a plugin of that hardware. So we're going to compare the hardware to the plugin because it's made by Trident for that exact EQ. Be interesting to see how close the modeling is. So we're going to do those 3 videos. And we have some other ideas, but we normally only get 3 or 4 videos a day when he comes up because it takes time to record all of those. And then, like I said, depending on the schedule, in his travel and all that, we may do a quick impromptu live stream. He's usually up for stuff like that. So my guess is, yeah, we'll probably do that. He'll be sitting beside me and we'll chat it up with you guys. So that'll be fun. So he'll be here next week. More videos coming. Let's see. The other thing I wanted to tell you guys about is well, you guys might have seen the video. Hopefully you saw the video on the 2-year review update on the console. And in that video, hey, Bobby Booth, how are you, brother? In that video, we talked about automation a little bit and how this doesn't have automation. And I talked to you guys about a couple of third-party solutions. If you had a console such as the Origin or another console that doesn't have flying faders with automation built in, a couple of solutions. One of those solutions is by Wes Audio. They make a 1U rack unit called the NG Level. And I might be able to get, I'm almost certain I'm going to get one of those on loan from Wes Audio so we could try that and see how that works. Because one of the comments in the video for the Origin that I just did a couple of weeks ago, one of our followers, he has an Origin as well. And he wrote a comment and he has an NG Level hooked up to the buses. How he does it is he has it hooked up to the buses, not to the individual tracks, which I thought was interesting. And he says it works great. It really works seamlessly with, I don't know what, did he say Cubase? I forget what DAW he was using, but nevertheless. So I reached out to Wes Audio because they offered to send me one before to try out. So I asked them again if I could get one in here for a month or so we could try it. So I can show you guys how that works. So if you have an analog mixer and you don't have automation because you don't have flying faders and you want to do everything on the desk, how can that product be maybe a solution for you? So that's going to be really cool. The Mix Club. Hey, Mix Club. How are you, my friend? Good to see you. So that'll be coming soon, hopefully, as well, to see how that works. Hopefully that's a pretty cool product. If it's Wes Audio, I'm sure it's a cool product. I just did their 2 EQ for the 500 series. They're not in the rack anymore. I sent them back. Their Prometheus, which is their Pultec, and the Hyperion, which is their stereo EQ. Both those videos are done. They'll come out sometime in about a month. And those are really cool, by the way. You know, kind of a spoiler alert. If you're looking for a stereo 500 series EQ that's affordable with all the total recall, because it's all can be controlled with the digital plugin, those are 2 really good sounding EQs. Really nice. And you'll see that in the video when they come out. But yeah, those are 2 to look at, and they're affordable. I think one of them's like $1,100 and one of them's like $1,300. Both of them is stereo or can run dual mono mid-side. Both of them, either you can control on the front of the unit like all the Wes Audio gear, or you can control it with the plug-in for recall, which is fantastic. So if you're looking for something cool, and both of them have the total harmonic distortion circuit in it, so you can add some of that saturation in there, which really makes it nice. So they can be super transparent, or they can be a little gridded up too if you want. They both sound really great. So those are 2 you may want to consider if you're looking for something. Those are something I would recommend, or you can wait for the video when that comes out. Hey Tracy, how are you? Good to see you. Mix Club's doing great. That's awesome. Thanks, guys, for joining. We'll see how many people actually show up. Usually we end up with about 20 or 30 people when I don't ever schedule these live streams, which is fantastic. We got 14 folks in here right now. That's pretty good, pretty good. I'm glad the stream looks like it's working a little bit better for everybody because I got my settings under control now, which is kind of cool. Let's see, what other videos do I have? You guys give me a lot of great ideas. The other ones that are already done. Oh, one that's coming out, if it's not next week, it's the week after. Like I said, I'm about 12 weeks ahead, literally. One video a week, I'm about 12 weeks ahead. I might get to the point where there'll be some weeks where I'll start putting out 2 a week, just so I'm not so far in the future. I did one video where I show you guys how I am handling printing stem files out of a stereo mix to be able to use to mix Dolby in headphones over on the In the Box rig. And we talked a little bit about that in the last live stream with our buddy Charlie. We talked about, well, Dolby and Atmos and whether you should do it and blah, blah, blah. But we talked about also that a lot of the guys and a lot of the YouTube videos that you see, I'd say 99% of them that I've seen, unless they're new videos coming out I haven't seen recently, are guys that all work solely in the box, right? So when they're working solely in the box of plugins, you can either do your Dolby Atmos mix, whether you have the 13 speakers in the room or whether you're using the headphones and doing it with a binaural setting. You could either do your Dolby mix right out of the gate, and then I guess you can render it or what they call fold it down to stereo, which I haven't done. Or you can do a stereo mix and then you can do a separate mix, you know, in Dolby. Which is fine if you're all in the box, it's great. But if you're on a console and you're using hardware, it's a little bit different, right? Unless you have a console that is designed and built to run something like Dolby, which this clearly is not. And I think the new SSL console that just came out, I can't remember the name of it. I think it's more for broadcast, but it has all of that stuff built in it. It looks like a killer console. I can't even imagine what that thing's gonna cost. My guess is it's gonna be somewhere near the $200,000 range. Way too rich for Uncle Dave. But anyhow, if you have a desk like this, or if you're just using any kind of an analog mixer in your studio, even if it's not a full console, how would you deal with that? Well, one way to do it, or the way that I've kind of learned to try it, is the way Chris Lord Algae's doing it. And the way he's doing it, he says, is he does a stereo mix first, and then what he does is he decides what stems he's gonna print direct back into his DAW, into Pro Tools, and then he exports those as WAV files, and then brings those stems, those WAV files, into an in-the-box session, totally new session, and does the Dolby mix. So I did that in a video for you guys. Part one was I finished the mix on the console, and we printed all 32 tracks back into the DAW, because this desk has 32 direct outs. So we printed all 32 channels back into the DAW. So that has all the EQ, has all the hardware, it has the fader position on the console, right? So when you print everything back in, and now you have your 32 stems, you put all your faders at 0 in your DAW, and for the most part, all the balances ought to be fairly accurate because you have all the fader positions here that get translated into the DAW. And then from there, you bring it in and you do a Dolby mix where you just really have to worry about panning and automation for the most part, because all the EQ, all the compression, everything's already done because it's already baked in. So I did that video comes out in a few weeks. And then the follow-up video is now we're gonna take those stem files, bring it in the box, and we're gonna do a Dolby mix with the binaural headphones just to see what it's like. So that video's coming soon too. So if you wanna know how do you handle it if you're working analog, this is one way to do it, I think. We're gonna see how it's all gonna turn out. So that ought to be fun. Braxel wants to know, did you see the new Boss SD300 EVH? I did, the dual delay. It has the same buttons as the original Roland SDE3000. It's like 2 SEDs in 1 unit. Yeah, I did see a couple of demo videos on it. It's got all the, I guess Eddie Van Halen used 2 of those in his rack mount for decades, and they took all his original patches and settings and put it into the pedal, which is kind of cool. I personally don't have any use for that, although that would be kind of cool to fool around with mixing. That'd be a cool pedal. to try out. I'm not sure what the cost of that is. I didn't look at the price, the street price on it, but yeah, I did see it. It does look really cool. It does look really cool. So that ought to be a fun pedal to check out if anybody's into that. But I did see it. Yes, I did. If you guys have any questions at all, feel free to ask. I'm keeping my eye on the chat here. So yeah, so that's really cool. What other videos? What other videos did I do for you? Oh, the other videos that we did, just so you know, while I'm waiting for you guys to chat it up. Other thing I did that you guys asked for is you asked me to compare just the preamps of the console to a preamp in an SSL plugin, which I did. So basically what I did is I took a full session, no EQ, no compression, no master bus stuff, just running it through the pre's on the desk. Again, printing those back in, and then duplicating those tracks, and then using an SSL channel strip plugin and just using the preamp of the plugin. I think I used the Plugin Alliance E-Series channel strip because this is based on an E-Series. So we did that. So we compared, well, we did two videos. The first video was just comparing the raw audio prior to the console. Compare that sound to what does it sound like if you just ran it through the Origins preamps. It's like a summing mixer. What's the difference between the sound of just running it through the desk, no EQ, no compression, just getting the electronics in and out through the pre? What's the sound of that compared to nothing, just raw audio that was recorded on a digital, typical home studio interface? That was video one. And then video two was, or is, comparing now the preamp of this to the preamp of the Plugin Alliance SSL E-Series channel strip. So those two videos are done, that are coming soon. Hey, David SJ's here. Hey, David SJ. David, some selections. Oh, sorry about that. We were just talking, David, about you coming up next week and some of the videos that we're going to be doing. So Dave will be here next week, if the world doesn't end between now and then. Braxel said that that's $5.99 for the EVH pedal. Okay. Well, it's like two delays in one. That's a little steep, but I've seen the videos. It is a very cool pedal. It's a very cool pedal. So if you're into that stuff, that's really cool. Yeah, so that'll be cool. So okay, so those videos. What other videos are done for you guys already? We talked about the Dolby Atmos. We talked about the preamps. What else? What else? What else? The Trident 80Bs are done. That's coming soon to you guys. I think there's one more Q&A video, because I get all your guys' questions and I answer them in the videos. That's coming. There's two more Inside the Mix episodes that are already done that are coming. One is a rock instrumental, very Joe Satriani-esque style of music, really cool tune. You guys will dig that. The other one is a funk tune, really cool funk rock tune, but that won't come out for a couple of months. But that's coming soon as well. Trying to think of what, I know there's other ones. There's a bunch of other ones that like I've said, that I've already done. So there's all kinds of videos coming. So you got to keep your eye on the channel. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, as we always say. Yep, Dave says he is coming. He's confirmed he will be here next week. And Dave, I told him we're going to do the Bluey videos. We're going to do the Trident 80B versus the plugin. Maybe it should be fun. And then if you feel like taking out your Warm Audio bus compressor, we can compare that as well. So that should be fun. So we got some cool videos, and then maybe a live stream depending on your schedule. The Mix Club. I don't know why I got to keep resizing these comments. I hate that. I wish it would just always do this. Mix Club says, you will love this. I just found a use for my Aratones. They are great for podcasts. Oh yeah, that's pretty good. I have them on and I'm going to sit outside and sit, and your vocals cuts great, better than the big monitors. That's great. So you can actually take your speakers outside and listen to the stream. Awesome, man. Hey, that's great. You know what I did with mine? I gave them to David SJ. He's got them now. Oh, I forgot to tell you. See, I got to write this stuff down, man. More Trinnov news. But let's get to some comments. Hey Dave, what are your thoughts on the Warm Audio? Thoughts on Warm Audio? Have you had any of their products? No, we've talked about that a lot on prior streams. What my thoughts are this. As a matter of fact, on last week's live stream with Charlie, we talked about Warm Audio because he tested out their new tube preamp and it was defective right out of the box. He's not a big fan of them. I'm not a huge fan of Warm Audio. I will say this about Warm Audio. I haven't tried their products in probably 3 or 4 years, to be fair to them. When I did try them, I tried a couple of their Pultecs, and I also tried the 1176, the Warm 76 or whatever they call it, and I also tried their LA2. And at that time, I wasn't very impressed with them. To me, they didn't sound really any better than the plugins did at the time. I felt like they were kind of cheaply made. They didn't feel very good. They kind of feel cheap and chintzy to me, but they did work. I had no problems with them. I just didn't think they weren't very impressive to me back then. So I sent them back to Sweetwater. That's where I bought them from. And since that time, I don't have any Warm Audio in my rack here because I really have no reason to get it. I don't need any more gear. But since that time, I hear two opinions about Warm Audio all the time. I have students that use Warm Audio that love it, that don't have any problems, that love their stuff, and they have varieties of different pieces and they're very happy. And I also have students and people that know, like Charlie, that have had nothing but inconsistent quality with Warm Audio over the years. And every single piece they get has an issue with it and they've sold it or whatever. So I hear kind of a mixed bag. But I haven't tried any of their stuff personally in any, like I said, in several years. And honestly, based on the gear that I have no reason to. So I always say this about Warm Audio. I think it's hit or miss. They do have a reputation of spotty quality. And I would just say, if you're going to buy Warm Audio to try it out, make sure you buy it from someone that you can return it if there's a problem, like a Sweetwater or a Vintage King or whoever your favorite online retailer is. But buy it somewhere where you have a 2-year warranty, because if you have a problem, you want to be able to get it dealt with. I would not buy it on the used market. And so that's my opinion on their stuff. I would say if you want to try it, and if you like it, great, because I know people that like their stuff. Lots of people like their stuff. But I also know several people that have nothing but problems with it. So, I don't know. Let's say, got some stuff down here. Let me scroll down. Braxel says, sorry about the comments being all over the place. I do not see why you cannot use the SDE 3000 EVH in the studio. Many studios in the day had those units. Yeah, I would say you could. Yeah, well, that's a guitar pedal, so you would just need something like the Radial Ecstasy or one of those boxes to convert the signal. But yeah, you should be able to use that in the studio, just like you can mix with any kind of pedal. So whatever you use to do that, you should be able to do that. And that would be really cool. It's got a bunch of cool delays and stuff in it, so. Let's see, Robbie Rob. Hey, Robbie Rob. Yesterday you saw a video from Dr. Mix. He rebuilt a disco hit and was sponsored by Heritage Audio with about 10 different tools. One is called the Hairchild, right? The Fairchild, yep. Costs about $10,000. Yeah, there's a couple of companies now that make a Fairchild replica. Heritage Audio is one of them. Stam Audio is another one. Who else? Who is Eric Valentine's company? Unchild, I think it's called. Something like that. There's a few. Yeah, and they're all anywhere for a mono unit, $6,000 or so, stereo unit, 10 to 12 grand. How are they compared to a real Fairchild? I don't know. They're probably really good. But I've not listened to one. But yeah, it's pretty sick that there's companies out there that do that. Yep. Okay, Dave has something to say about warm audio. Let's see. My take on warm audio. They're good entry-level processors, but you can reasonably expect them to perform at a very high level considering their price point and production practices. Yeah, I would agree with that, yeah. I think if you get a good unit, you get a good unit, right? Electronics is weird. If there's a quality issue in the components or the craftsmanship or whatever, it's usually gonna raise its head relatively soon from when you start using it, most times, right? If you get a good unit, you should be fine. Again, for the price, again, the thing is I've not, to be fit, well, here's a great example if Dave has the ability to bring up his warm audio SSL bus compressor, because we could compare that to the real thing and we'll see how close it is. It might be dead on, I don't know, maybe it is. I haven't compared their other stuff to another piece of hardware, so you got to be fair there and can't say it doesn't sound good or anything like that because I don't know that. But based, just for me personally, again, it depends on your budget, right? There's a few companies out there that make the gear at budget prices or more affordable prices. One being Audioscape, but even Audioscape is more expensive than warm audio. I think the Audioscape, let's say the 76D, right? The black plate 1176 probably runs around $1,000, $1,100 Audioscape in that ballpark. Warm audio 600. Now, I could tell you I've had the warm audio one in my hand at one time, and I have an Audioscape, and from a build quality perspective, there's no comparison. The Audioscape is built like a tank. The warm audio feels more like a toy. You know, the thickness of the box that it's put in, the knobs. But you know, again, it's twice the price. So if it's twice the price, it should be built better, right? It should be. You know, that you should expect that. Again, sound quality though, I don't know. I don't know. I know the warm audio stuff sounds amazing. I mean, excuse me, the Audioscape stuff, if you compare that to a warm audio piece, would it sound the same? I don't know, because I haven't done that. But I would agree with you, Dave. I mean, if you bring up it'll be interesting, because Dave's the only one that I know that I see regularly that has warm audio that's willing to bring something up here so we could try it. And I would love to compare it to the console compressor. See if it sounds the same. It might. And we're going to report back and tell you guys the truth. If it sounds just about identical, I'm going to tell you that it sounds just about identical. If it doesn't sound anything like that compressor, or it falls short for whatever reason, Dave and I are going to tell you the truth. Either it sounds good or it could sound good, but we're going to tell you, does it sound the same or doesn't it? I don't know. It might sound almost identical or close enough. Or it may not sound as good or not even close. And then Dave's going to go home and run out and buy one of those because we've already talked about it. So we'll see. Oh, Braxel, you saying that new SDE 3000, you could go line level right out of the pedal? See, I didn't know that. So now you don't need a special box? Oh, see, now that makes it more enticing to try, right? Because if I don't need to buy a special box that costs $300 and then buy a $500 pedal, if you just have to buy the pedal, who knows, Braxel, we may see that video on this channel at one time. Anything that says EVH on it, I'm willing to try. That's just me, though. Oh, yeah, Dave said it's the Unfair Child, right? That's Eric Valentine's company, right? Unfair Child. And I think that's somewhere in that, I think his is more, though, than the 10 grand, right, Dave? I think that's closer to 20, his. But I could be wrong about that. I thought his was more expensive. I hear you, Braxel. Well, we talk about it a lot. Like I said, buy the warm audio with caution. Buy it where you can return it. That's all. Trip Killer. Hey there, Hobby Gobbles. What is a good way to patch an ADAT optical to Dante? I have no idea because I don't work with Dante. I'm not the guy to ask, unfortunately. Maybe someone else here in the chat could help. Joel Cruz. Hey, Joel. Have some more audio stuff. I kept and some of it I've sold. I kept all their microphones. Oh, cool. But I've sold some of their outboard gear to upgrade to other gear. Great units to learn analog workflow. There you go. There you go. Hey, the Eagles Rage. How are you, brother? Thanks for joining, my friends. Oh, Dave says the Unfair Child, which is Eric Valentine's company, is 11K at Vintage King. Oh, okay. Oh, is that for the, is that a stereo unit, Dave? Is that a stereo unit? See, well, again, I don't know. But if I had to buy Eric Valentine's for 11,000 or Heritage Audios for 10, I'd probably buy Eric Valentine's. I don't know why, I have no reason to say Heritage Audio is not good stuff. I just think that if I had to choose between those two at that price point, I would buy the Unfair Child. I think. Well, that ain't happening here anyway. But if I were to do that, that would be what I would do. That would be what I would do, for sure. Let's see, more updates here while you guys are asking more questions. Okay, so like I said, Thursday, I'm meeting with Chris from Audioscape. We're going to do a pre-recorded interview. I'm going to schedule a live stream. We're going to get on here, probably with David as well. The three of us, Dave, and Chris, hopefully, if Chris is down for it, which I'm sure he will be. We'll do a live stream on the channel where you guys can interact with him directly and ask him all the questions. He's a great guy, tons of knowledge, makes great products. I'm sure you guys will have fun chatting it up with him. We're going to talk to him this week about that. Okay, Dave says it's a 670. Oh, okay. Okay, so Eric Valentine's, the Unfair Child is 11,000 bucks for the stereo unit at Vintage King. And the Heritage is 10 grand. It'd be interesting to put up the spec sheets for both of those. I'm just curious to know about the tubes and the trim, like what kind of parts are they using? I'm just curious, I don't know. Just interesting stuff. But that's pretty cool. Braxel says, you're enjoying Cubase. That's right, you got Cubase 12. Awesome. Cubase is awesome. I'm happy with the purchase. Let's see, what do you say? It's such a powerful DAW. It took me a while to get my RME set up correctly, but it works like a champ. Yeah, Cubase 12 Pro is a wonderful DAW. You know, it's on par with Studio One or, you know, any of those DAWs. It's fantastic. I have it. I always say I'm going to use it. I'm going to start doing some videos on it. I just never get to it, but I have it. I have it. It's a great DAW. If I wasn't using Studio One, that would probably be the DAW that I would lean on. Probably. Speaking of DAWs, on the Home Recording Made Easy channel, I just did we're going to start doing some Luna's Universal Audio Luna videos. They've done some updates and they've kind of rectified and solved some of the issues that they had with their DAW when it came out 3 years ago. So I did a video, came out Friday, comparing my video from 3 years ago where I told people do not switch, it's not ready, there's too many missing features, to the new video which talks about are any of those features now added, has anything been rectified? And we're going to take a look at Luna a little bit more closely. They're still not PC compatible, and I don't think it's coming anytime soon. 3 years ago I thought it would happen any month, but I'm a little surprised by that, but I don't know why. There must be a reason. There must be a reason. Anyway, so if you're a PC user, you're kind of crap out of luck. But if you're a Mac user, that Universal Audio Luna, I will say, forget, we're going to talk about stability and functionality and stuff in other videos, but just from a layout and a cleanliness standpoint and a streamline, I really like it. I said that 3 years ago. I really like how simple and clean and tidy and easy it is. You know, and a lot of DAWs, and Studio One is, you know, and Cubase and all the main DAWs are, you know, have this, I wouldn't say problem, but one of the issues, especially for folks that are new, is the DAW can do so much. And you know, you open up, you right click on anything and open up the side menu and there's 4,000 actions that you can take, which is great. But sometimes it's hard to find things. And when you look at the screen, there's so many buttons and tools and things are all over the place. Luna is the exact opposite of that, which is one of the reasons why I like it. is that, at least for my use, it has 95% of all the functionality that all the other DAWs have. A few key ones are still missing, by the way, but it's getting closer. But I just like the layout of it. And I like the whole mixer analog kind of workflow that it has, the kind of channel strip workflow. Very similar to the SSL 360 software. It's kind of laid out such as that. And also some people compare it to the Harrison Mixbus software. It's similar in that kind of workflow. Although I've tried Harrison Mixbus, man, I could never work in that DAW. It looks cool, but everything is so small, you can't see anything on the screen. It's very difficult to work with. That really needs a redesign. I think they have a great concept. For me, it's almost unusable. But the Luna looks easy to use, and everything's big and you can see it anyway. So yeah, so Luna, there'll be some more Luna videos we're going to do on the other channel if you're interested in Luna. But yeah, again, Cubase is really great. Tracy said the Stam Child is $6,000, much more affordable. The 680, and I assume that's stereo as well. I don't know anything. I've heard of them, certainly. I've never used their products, but aren't they a company, Tracy, like when you order stuff, it takes like 6 months to get it? Is that Stam? I've heard that before. Although I think I've seen a couple of their products on reverb.com that maybe people are selling them, or maybe they have some in stock, I don't know, that you can get right away. But I thought that was the company where when you buy something from them, it takes like 6 months to get something. But I know they have a good reputation, but I've never tried any of their stuff. But $6,000, that's interesting. That's interesting. Yeah, you say you're not sure of the sound comparisons. I don't know. I don't know. Braxel wants to know, how do they make a copy of a Fairchild? Well, what they do is they get one. Apparently, they get a hold of one and they look at it and they dissect it and they build it like you do with any other product. I'm sure that's how they did it. You could still get a Fairchild. There's still many studios that have them. You can rent a Fairchild. You can rent one from Blackbird Studios in Nashville. I think it's $200 a day. You can rent the Fairchild from them. So I'm sure companies, I'm sure they did. I'm sure they got a hold of one in some studio somewhere and they took it apart and analyzed it and do whatever they do. I would assume that's exactly what they do. Let's see. Eagle Rage says, I can't wait to get my hands on Luna once I get a chance to upgrade to an Apollo. Here's the thing about Eagle's Rage. Here's the thing. You don't need an Apollo anymore to run it. That's one of the new updates that makes it attractive. You do not need a Universal Audio Apollo to run it. You can use any interface, and I show it in the video. However, currently, the only way you can get a license is if you have an Apollo, which is the dumbest thing I've ever heard of. My guess is they're moving more towards a model where you're not going to have to buy. So if you had an Apollo, let's say you had an Apollo Solo, which I do as a secondary interface. That's how I got my license. Once the license is installed, you can run it with any interface. I actually installed it on this rig right here. It's installed, and I can use my PreSonus Quantums if I want now. But the only way to obtain the license is because I have the Apollo. But I'm sure that's going to change. I can't imagine, it doesn't make any sense for them to add the feature to use any audio interface, but you can't get the license unless they have their interface. But that's the way it is today. So just so you know that. But, things are changing all the time. Justin says, the shipping delay is old news for Stam. Yeah, that's there. You have to wait a long time. Is it the shipping portion of it, or is it just because it's built to order? I'm not really sure. And I think you're buying them from where? Where are you buying it from? Portugal? I forget the country, right? But I don't know. I don't know that I would buy anything from them. I wouldn't want to wait 5 months for it. Don't know. Mix Club says he likes the 360 mix layout. It just works for me. Oh, for the SSL, yeah. Well, if you like that layout, you might like Luna. It's laid out just like that. It's laid out just like that. But there still are some features in Luna that need to be fixed. Like, quickly. Luna now also, you can use surface controls, DAW controllers. That wasn't available when it first came out. That now is available. But there's a couple of things right out of the box that I don't like with Luna, which I wasn't aware of until after I did the video. Someone corrected me in the comments, which is great. One is when you're using a VST instrument, like let's say Superior Drummer, or even their own. Well, they don't have a drumming software yet. Universal Audio has some keyboards and a B3, but let's say you're using Superior Drummer, Easy Drummer, or one of those things. You can't multi-track out in Luna like you can in all the other DAWs. I know I've been told it's a heavily featured request by UA, but it isn't implemented yet. So if you use VSTs like Easy Drummer and you want to multi-channel out, you can't do it in Luna yet. That kind of stinks. I don't like that. But just so you know that. But again, I can't imagine that won't be implemented. They will be. It's just a matter of time. But if you like that 360 software, Luna might be something you want to look at if you're in the market to switch DAWs. Justin says that Stam is moving their Portugal factory to the States. Really? Okay, well then that might be a game changer. If they can build stuff in the United States and actually you order it and you don't have to wait 6 months to get it, that might be different. That might be different. It'll be interesting to know if they move it to the States, what's the price of their products going to be? Because labor is typically cheaper in more expensive in the United States than anywhere else in the world, for the most part. And so how's that going to change their pricing structure? Or is it? Because their stuff is pretty high priced already. So that's interesting. Oh, hey Tracy, let me just... Dave, just triple your eyeglass subscription and MixBus. Yeah, will work great. I'm telling you, man. I upgraded to the new 43-inch monitor and played the display adjustments in MixBus. Isn't really too bad. Yeah, you know, you would have to have, because I know the new version of MixBus is scalable now. So if you have a massive screen, you might be able to blow everything up big enough. I don't know. I just think the design of that thing, they need to go back and relook at that. Because again, if you can do it in the 360 software, and if Luna can do it and make it more usable to be able to look at it without needing a 70-inch television set, they should be able to do it too. But yeah, there's been a couple of times where they've reached out to me to get me to demo their stuff. They've sent me MixBus for free. And wanted me to demo and do videos, and I can't get past 10 minutes of it. I just can't. I can barely see it, and I'm not going to do a video and just say it's not good because I can't. It may be great, but if I open up the thing and the first thing I'm doing is struggling to see things, moving on. Moving on. Bad design. Bad design. But yeah, what are you going to do? Let's see. Dave, do you have any advice on microphones? I'm trying to decide on buying a Soyuz 017 FET or a Lawton on. I don't know. I don't really buy microphones these days. So I don't really know. The one set of microphones I did buy for some videos and a course that I'm going to be doing soon is I bought the Slate Digital ML1 and ML2, the modeling microphones. I got to tell you, for the money, they're great. They're great. Well, they're coming on a home recording made easy if you follow that YouTube channel, and you should be. I do some videos showing drum mixing, record drums, mixing it with all the different microphone models. It's great. For the money, I don't know how you can beat it. Now, again, just like with anything else, is the model of their U87 exactly the same sounding as a real U87? I don't know, because I don't have a real U87. And if you put three U87s in the room and we tested 3 side by side, they'd all sound slightly different anyway. But does it have the characteristics of a U87? It does. That much I know. So they sound really good. So for me, unless you have a very specific microphone you want, that's a great microphone to try. If you're looking for a large diaphragm condenser, you can check out the ML1 for $700 or whatever it is, and you get all the mic models and you can flip through them all. But aside from that, Braxel, I don't, because I don't buy microphones because I'm not a recording studio. I'm a mixing studio and education, as you guys know. Mix Club, does your console have a gate section? If so, do you like it? It does not. It doesn't have compression gate in this particular console, but I do have some of the SSL 500 series modules, the E-Series Dynamics, which has the compression gate, and the gate's really good on it. But the console itself does not. Let's see, STEM is based in Chile, and they have an office in Italy. Oh, cool. Tracy says, oops. Cancel. Almost blocked somebody, didn't mean to block you. Dave, I forgot if you talked about this. You kind of stay away from Acoustica audio reviews. They have this new hyper technology in their plugins helping CPU demand. Yeah, the reason why I can ask so many times to do Acoustica. And there was a time about a year ago, maybe a little longer now, on the other channel, where I tried to use them. I got to tell you, I don't know if they're CPU hogs. The website was confusing. I got something downloaded. I tried to use it. It was very finicky again, and I don't know what I used. I think it was a couple of the channel strips because that's what I kind of like to look at first typically with companies because I'm a channel strip guy. And I don't remember which ones offhand, but I looked at a couple of their channel strips. The knobs were really clunky. Everything was really difficult to see. The plugin wasn't scalable. It was just, I don't know. I think I got one of them to finally work, and it didn't really sound. I wasn't impressed by their stuff. But I know, again, a lot of people love their stuff, and I don't believe anymore, or I'm not even sure if you could demo their stuff anymore. That must have been how I did it because I wouldn't have bought it. I've never contacted them. They've never contacted me or anything like that. Here's the thing. I just think there are so many plugin companies out there now, and I have plugins from almost every other manufacturer. There's no reason for me to have Acoustica. Like I said, just looking at some of the interfaces doesn't impress me. So I'm not really impressed. But just like with Warm Audio, Tracy, I know students that have Acoustica. They love it. They tell me it's the best sounding plugins on the market. I've had them tell me it's better than, their Pultec is better than any other Pultec. I don't know that, maybe it is, but I've been told that about every single plugin company of a Pultec that I own, and they all sound pretty much the same. So, is one plugin that much better than another? No. At least I've never heard one yet. So yeah, I kind of stay away from them. I've just never been impressed with them. Now, I've said that a billion times on both of my channels. If someone from Acoustica ever sees this video and you want to reach out to me and send me some demos and convince me that this thing is worth taking a look at, I'll take a look at it. But I'm going to be honest, and if I don't think it's any good, I'm going to tell you. I'm not going to do a video, and because if you go and, like I said, I'm an honest guy. If the stuff isn't any good, I'm either not going to do the video because I'm not just going to bash a company, or if it's kind of so-so, I'm going to tell you it's kind of so-so, but I'm not going to go out of my way to buy their stuff, that's for sure. So they never really did it for me. But hey, man, if you guys use them and you like it, that's awesome too. That's awesome. BB Music, hey BB. Hey Dave, curious, what is your go-to lead vocal compressor these days? Thanks. Well, it depends. I know you don't want me to hear it. You don't want me to say it depends on the track, but it depends on the track. But more times than not, it's one of 3 compressors. If it's a male vocal, typically it'll be the Audioscape 76A Blue Stripe. or the Black Lion Audio Blue Stripe if I want more aggression. If it's a female vocal, it could go through the 76A Blue Stripe, or sometimes it goes through the V-Comp by Audioscape, the stay level, which is great. Those are kind of the three that my lead vocal will hit more times than not. But sometimes also the 70, it's usually a FET style. It's usually one of the 76s that I have. But if I'm looking for the fat, rich, creamy thing, it'll be the V-Comp. So yeah, those are typical. Eagles Rage, do you know if Luna accepts VSTs? That was my biggest sore jumping over to Pro Tools. Yes, I know you can open up. I did it. I opened Easy Drummer 3 in Luna and played with it, and it does work. I think that's the only one I tried, Eagles Rage. But yeah, I know the Tune Track stuff absolutely will open in Luna and will play in Luna. Now, you can't multi-out it like I just said a little while ago, but you can use it. So yes, yes. Are there other ones that won't work in Luna? I don't know, but I got to assume if Tune Tracks works, they're all going to work, right? Native Instruments, they'll probably all work. That would be my guess. Do you like the Purple 76 from Plugin Alliance? I watched your old video on it, wanted to see you think about it. I do like it. I don't use it very much when I'm mixing in the box of plugins because I just have so many other plugins for no reason other than sometimes I forget I even have it, but I do like it. I would love to try the hardware of it. I've been told that the difference, the Purple is kind of a more modern style sound of an 1176 than maybe some of the classic stuff or more vintagey stuff, but I've never tried it. I do have the new Wes Audio NG76. You can't see it. It's behind me down in the rack. I have to do a video of that soon. I've just started using it. It's a great compressor, man, with a lot of cool features. And again, that compressor was $1,200, brand new from Sweetwater, or $1,300. You're looking for an 1176 that does about 10 different things? You may want to check that one out. Good show, gotta go. Make some supper. Cool. Thanks, Mix Club. See you later, brother. Thanks for stopping by. Stephen L. Hey, Steve. Oh, every time I click on that button, I'm afraid I'm going to accidentally ban one of you guys. If I do, I'll unban you. I'm sorry. I'm an aging analog guy. I think all in the box is oversold. How do you like analog versus all in the box these days now? Oh, Steve, you got to go back. Thanks for coming in, brother. You must be new here. You got to go back and watch a lot of the videos on the channel because I must have talked about this 10,000 times. But I'll answer it here because, you know, that's cool. Here's what I'm going to tell you. When I first, 2 years ago, when I first bought this console and started buying hardware, and David S.J., who's here tonight, was my partner helping me put all this together and figure it all out and all that stuff. I bought it for really one reason, well, two reasons. One is I bought it more for workflow. I wanted my hands-on stuff. I wanted to work with the analog tactile feel workflow versus with a mouse and keyboard and opening, closing, plugging windows and fingering it one at a time. But when I first bought all this stuff, before we started down this journey, I didn't care, and Dave will tell you, I've said this to him, and I've said it on the channel a bunch of times too. I didn't care if the sound was 100% identical to working in the box that a lot of people claim that it is. I went into this thinking, I don't care if the sound's identical. I want to do the workflow, and let's see what the differences really are. What I came to learn very quickly, and it only took a few months to figure all this out, it doesn't sound 100% identical to in the box. In my opinion, there's not even a comparison in the sound. There is a sound that comes out of this console and that gear that, to me, is way different than working all in the box of plugins. Doesn't mean that it's better. Better is subjective. It means that it's different. And I like the sound a lot more. And it's a lot faster to mix, and you get to the final sound much, much faster. So, do I think that you can mix good with plugins in the box? Yes. I have a whole online school, Steve. If you don't know about homerecordingmadeeasy.com, go check it out. And I have some courses that teach people how to use your plugins to emulate this workflow. and you get a sound that's in the ballpark. But is it, you say oversold? Well, what isn't oversold today, right? I mean, everything from this phone to everything else. But does it sound like analog? No, it doesn't, in my opinion. Now, just like with all the other things we talk about here, sound is subjective, gear is subjective, and there are going to be people that are going to tell you it sounds identical. Andrew Sheps, Michael Brower, Tony Maserati, insert your famous engineer, will tell you that it is the same. They sold all their stuff, it sounds the same. I've tried to get it to sound the same. We've done some experiments on the channel with different pieces of gear and stuff. Does it sound the same? It doesn't sound the same. It's not even close, in my opinion. So what do I think? I think it's all a matter of your workflow, certainly your budget, and you know what you like. And neither one of the workflows is wrong. Neither one of the platforms is bad. It's just different. But I was shocked how much of a difference there really was. I didn't think it would be that much of a difference when we got into this. And I didn't get into this thinking it was better than digital, by the way. And I've said that on the channel. I thought, like I said, if it was identical, I didn't care. I wanted the experience, and I wanted to bring to all of you our journey on moving from in the box to analog hybrid, and what are the differences really. And I still work, by the way, Steve, with plugins all the time. On my other YouTube channel, on my mixing membership website, so on and so forth, I mix with plugins all the time. And I mix with analog all the time. I'm one of the few guys that I know on YouTube that really has 2 rigs, and I use them both regularly. There's no difference. No comparison, excuse me. There's no comparison. And that's just how I feel. But digital is great, plugins are great, and it is more about your skills, and it is about the gear, and it's about what you like to hear in your ear. And that's the truth. That's the truth. Hope that answers your question. Justin says, I mixed metal and got a Blackline Audio Bluey. Great compressor. You love it for metal vocals. Well, you know why? Because it's a very aggressive compressor. And that would make sense, that it would sound good on metal vocals. It is a great sounding compressor. It's very different. Oh, Mathis, thank you for reminding me. I got a note to talk about the Trinnov. Have you been looking at the Trinnov Nova? Well, not only have I looked at it, of course I looked at it. Well, I have a Trinnov. If you're new here and you don't know, go watch my 2 videos on the Trinnov. I have what's called the ST2 Pro. They replaced that with the Nova 90 days after I bought my other one, oddly enough. And I have a really good relationship now with the head of marketing and sales over at Trinnov. His name is Antoine. Not that they've sponsored this channel, they have not. I bought my Trinnov from Vintage King, I paid full price. Since I bought it, I was so happy with the results. I reached out to them, we're doing an interview together very soon. Anton and I are gonna come to the channel so we could talk about the products, the Nova and such. And I just talked to him about a week ago. And the Trinnov Nova will be available in June. We are working out something together, because he loves the videos that I did. He loves the fact that I love the Trinnov. I'm gonna get a Nova in here to borrow, and we're gonna, just to show you the differences between the 2 boxes. I've been told by Trinnov and Antoine that there's no difference in the sounds of the Trinnov versus the old one versus the new one. The way the box is built, hold on, let me just get something, okay, sorry. The way the box is built is different. It's more portable, it's smaller, it's lighter. There's a couple of new features in the Nova that wasn't in the ST2 Pro. They've also stripped out a couple of features in the Nova to make it a lower entry level cost that's scalable. And they modernized the application and all that stuff. But the result, the way they measure, all the cool things that product does between the two, I'm told is 100% identical In other words, if you had an ST2 Pro like me, they're still going to support it for the next 10 years. And they said, if you bought a Nova, it's not going to sound any different. It still does all the same things that your ST2 Pro does, but more streamlined, more up to date. Like I said, with a lower cost of entry for the base model. So that's cool. But we're going to have a Nova in here so we can compare the two, and I can show you the difference between the old ones, the new ones. Why is the Nova $3,500 roughly versus $5,000? What are the differences? There are differences. People think the Nova is exactly the same as the ST2 Pro. It's not. There's some features that are missing in the Nova that makes it cheaper. But you can add those features back in, and when you add the features back in, it's the same price as the ST2 Pro. But they made it more modular, so you can start at a lower price point if you don't need all those additional features. So I think it's great. So we're going to have a Nova in here when they're available, and we're going to do a bunch of videos. They've done some things with the microphone and things like that to make it a little easier to use. So yeah, so I'm looking forward to the Nova to check it out and see, what the differences is, how is the application, the little, controller app, how does that work? Also, the Nova has a couple other things too in it that are cool that, that I think people will like. And the way I understand it, and again, we'll talk more about it once I get one, and once I talk to Antoine again, that there are the Nova is more of a scalable unit, so you can kind of a la carte some of the features that you want to make it scalable more future-proofed, I guess is the right word. So if you buy a Nova, you don't have to worry about, well, in 3 years as your studio expands or whatever, that you're going to outgrow your Nova. That's kind of the design thing there. So we're gonna talk more about it. But I've said it once and I'll say it again, that Trinnov is the best thing I bought in the studio yet. That product is the word that I don't ever like to use, the word you guys love. That product is a game changer, no question. If you mix a lot of music, that product is a game changer. And I don't say that about many products. Most products, when they tell me it's a game changer, I laugh about it because it normally isn't. That one is. At least for me, in this studio. And I'm not sponsored by Trinnov. I paid for my Trinnov. And it hurt. Oh, it hurt. It was so expensive. But yeah. Hey, Braxel, do you have a cloud above your mixing desk? Yes, I do, right up here. You just can't see it. Yep, get a big cloud. It is 2, 4, 6, 8. It's about 2, 4, it's 10 feet this way by 5 feet this way. I think they're 3-inch panels. Made a big difference. Big difference. That was the other thing that made a big difference. That was another, for me mixing over here, another game changer kind of a thing. It really dialed in the accuracy of the room, the cloud. Yeah, I do. And that didn't cost nearly as much as a Trinnov. Oh, good, Steve. Thank you for subscribing. Yeah, go back and watch a lot of the channels, man. If you're an old analog guy, you'll love this channel. Thank you for subbing. I really appreciate it. Hey, Jim. Good to see you, brother. Hope you're doing well. Braxel said, is the Nova good and it's cheaper? It is. It is. It'll be again, I don't want to, well, it's on Sweetwater's website. I think they're going to sell it. I think it's about $3,600. But here's what they don't tell you, Braxel. It's $3,600 for the Nova. One of the features that I know for a fact it doesn't have, that this one has, is mine. You can hook up 2 sets of speakers. The Nova, you can only hook up 1. Now, you can add the feature to the Nova, like I said, I believe, for about another $600, so you can add the second set of speakers. Now it brings the price up to over $4,000. And it doesn't come with the mic, their special microphone. That's an additional $700. So you put that on the $4,000, now you're at $4,700. I paid 52, 53 with the microphone. So it is still a little bit cheaper than the ST2 Pro, little cheaper, but it's not way cheaper. So if you're going to buy a Nova, just make sure you know what your needs are and make sure that you're buying it knowing what, that it's going to fit your needs. And it doesn't make sense to me that you would buy it without their microphone. I don't know that you can use any room measurement microphone with their system. I know in the ST2 Pro you cannot. With the new one, maybe you can. Maybe that's why it's sold separately. But to me, if you're gonna spend that kind of money, do it right. Get their microphone. Get the Nova when it comes out. If you only need one set of monitors, and do it with their microphone, because that's going to give you the most accurate results because of the design of the microphone. And you can go back and watch my video if you haven't already, and you can see what the differences are. Jim says he finished installing. What'd you do? You do a PC build there, Jim? Oh, you started to clean up your PC and you started adding a system drive. It runs smooth. Great, man. Good for you. Let's see. Steve L says, Waves and other companies properly paid CLA, Andrew Sheps, etc., and a leg up to push their stuff sales. I agree. It's the workflow in your ear. Keep up the good work. Yeah, well, I mean, again, I don't know who pays who. Well, CLA doesn't work in the box. He works at a console. He's one of the few guys left that are out there saying, I'm not leaving my console. Him and Bob Clearmountain and a couple of those guys, they're not telling you, oh, it sounds exactly the same all in the box. I mean, Chris Lord-Alge has his own line of plugins, and I have them all. They sound okay. Do they sound as good as the hardware? Again, it's all subjective. It's all subjective. So if CLA puts out his CLA Blue Stripe plugin, does it sound like a real blue hardware Blue Stripe? Not exactly. Is it in the ballpark? Is it close? Yeah. Is it good enough for most people that are more hobbyists, that are on a budget? Absolutely. Perfect. It's perfect. Mathis says, I like that the Nova is more modern, and I guess I will get the updated, and I guess it'll get an update more than the ST2 Pro. ST2 Pro is not going to get any more updates. So yeah, but when the Nova comes out, I mean, here's another thing you can consider. Again, you can just consider it depending on your studio's needs. Wait 6 months and go on the used market and see if you can buy an ST2 Pro. You might be able to get a steal on that. You might be able to get a steal on that. You might be able to get an ST2 Pro for, $2,500, and that would be worth it. Because again, from what I'm told, and we're gonna compare them, guys. Believe me, I love Antoine, and I'm sure he's telling me the truth because I love the guy. I love Antoine over at Trinnov. He's been so helpful to me. He's a really good guy. He says the sound is 100% identical. It's no different sound-wise. But you know what we're gonna do, right? Because what do we do here? We're gonna have both in the room, and I'm gonna tell you. We're going to measure it with the Nova, with their new updated microphone, and we're going to listen to the difference because I'm going to have both systems running at the same time, and we're going to go A, B, A, B, A, B. Is the measurement and the result, the final result of the Nova, any different than what I have on the ST2 Pro? I don't know. We're going to find out. It could be that maybe with their new microphone and some of the new tweaks to the software, maybe it will do a little bit more accurate of a measurement, but we're going to compare the EQ curves before and after. We're going to compare the time alignment, the phase, which is really where the Trinnov shines, is the phase correction. That's the big one. And we're going to look at the two graphical representations of both products. They're going to say, but they tell me it's identical, which is great because it's awesome. It works. But yeah, maybe you can get an ST2 Pro on the used market in 6 months for a steal. So SonarWorks bites now? I didn't say that. Who said that? As a matter of fact, I said in the Trinnov videos that SonarWorks is a great product. I used it. It's an awesome product. If you've never used room correction before, and you don't do this for a living, and you don't make money with this, you're doing it as your own music or your hobbyist, or you're on a budget, you don't have real deep pockets, because the Trinnov isn't cheap, right? And if you never use room correction, go get SonarWorks. SonarWorks is a great product, but it doesn't do all the things that the Trinnov does. The Trinnov is the next level. But again, you got to acoustically treat your room properly first before you use any of these products. Go get SonarWorks and try it. If you like what that does, and you're in the market, Trinnov, I did the video. Well, you guys couldn't hear the difference because you can't hear the difference unless you're in the room. But I did the video. I'm sure you saw it, Braxel. You watch all the stuff. I told you exactly what the differences in sound were. There's about a 10% improvement in the Trinnov over the SonarWorks. But it's 40 times the cost? So, it's not for everybody. It's not for everybody. But I tell people, if you mix for a living, that Trinnov is the best money you've ever spent. And then what other video did I do recently? Oh, there was a video that came out of the live stream. Someone asked me about mixing and what I like about mixing. And I shared with you an email that a client sent me after I mixed his stuff. It was like the third mix I did with the Trinnov. And he told me, for people who didn't see the video, I read the email, I put it up on the screen. He listened to the mix in 9 separate playback systems before he sent me the email. It said everything translated perfectly. That's all I need to know. That was the best $6,000 or $5,300 or whatever I've ever spent. If time is money to you when it comes to mixing, that Trinnov is worth every penny. If you're not in that kind of a situation, like most people are not, that I would say, yeah, the Trinnov is probably not something you need. But you should try SonarWorks, because I think you would like that. It'll definitely get you, closer to better mixed translations, which is the name of the game. Hello from JZ Studios. Hey, Jonathan. Good to see you, my friend. Braxel says, I'll never buy another Waves plugin. I think you're still upset about the whole Waves debacle. Everybody got all upset. I understand. I'm not that upset. Every single company is going to go subscription. Everybody. What is your favorite 8-channel interface for a small band under $1,000? 8 channels. Under $1,000 bucks? There's a lot of them. But the ones that I've used, because I only like to talk about stuff that I used, under $1,000, the only 2 companies I would buy, and again, I know people will say there's others, and I'm sure there's other great ones, would be either a PreSonus Quantum or a Focusrite. Either one of those companies I would buy. Which model on the Focusrite? David S.J. will be able to tell you. He has one. Those 2 brands for under $1,000 make great interfaces. The preamps are traditionally clean, very transparent, pretty good headroom, low distortion. But I'm sure there's others on the market. Motu is another brand that I know in that price, under $1,000 bucks, you could get a wonderful 8-channel interface. I've used the smaller 2 and 4 channel Motus, and they were great. I've never used an 8-channel one, so I can't speak from experience with that, but if I use the other ones and they're good, I'm sure Motu's really good as well. And you can get those 8 channels between $500 and $800, I think. Those would be my 3 recommendations. Tracy wants to know, oops, didn't mean to bang you. Hey, sorry, he's meant David S.J. Okay, David S.J., any of your videos coming up? I think both of your live stream videos are great, dynamic. David S.J. can really be knowledgeable encyclopedia at times on the tech stuff. Yes, David's been really busy with his work. He's got a lot of stuff going on at work, and now he's starting to get freed up, and we're going to spend more time together. We are going to do a live stream together. He's coming up this Saturday to film some video. So yeah, David S.J. is going to be back. He'll be back. Thought you might have changed your mind. Oh, on SonarWorks? No, Braxel. No. Okay, Mathis, thanks for joining. Have a great night, my friends. Okay, David's talking about the Focusrite Scarlett 18i20, $600. Oh, and he has the 8 Pre for $1,000. Yeah, I would trust Focusrite too. Definitely. I would definitely trust those. One of the things I wanted to tell you guys about. I know there was something else and I forgot. Make sure the stream is still running. Hopefully you guys are enjoying yourselves. Thanks for joining me, by the way. Just like hanging out with you guys every so often. How long have we been on this nonsense already? An hour and 20 minutes, oh my goodness. Okay, we'll stay on for maybe another 20 minutes or so, and then we're not gonna go above 2 hours. So make sure you like, share, subscribe. Give me the old thumbs up if you would, that would be great. If this channel helps you in any way, by the way, and you guys have, are feeling generous, please use the super thanks. It really does help. A lot. I hope the channel's helping. I think we're doing stuff here that's very unique to not many other channels are doing when it comes to the hybrid analog thing. So I hope you guys are getting something out of it. Eagles Raid says that the Focusrite 1820 has been a workhorse for him. Great. Awesome. Audio Event Evo. I don't know anything about audience. I don't know. I've heard of the interface, but I've never used it, so I really have no experience. But I've been told Audient makes good products, but I've never used any of their stuff. George, hey George, do you have any plans to put out some of your outboard gear in the center of your SSL origin and have them at your fingertips? Not now, not right away. Originally, I was going to put the master bus stuff here, but it won't fit. So no, not right away. Not right away. Maybe at one point when I run out of rack space, which is about to happen. But yeah, you could put a 500 rack in this desk, which I thought about doing. But a lot of my master bus stuff, honestly, for the most part, is set it and forget it, with a little minor tweak here and there. I don't need it right in front of me to be tweaking a lot of stuff, so maybe not so much. But yeah, but there might be one point in time. But I'd have to find somewhere for my fader port. I got some stuff in the way here. I used to have the SSL UF8 here, and I got rid of it because I wasn't using it. It looks really cool, but I wasn't using it. What do you guys got? Anything else? Any other questions about gear and such? I know there was something else I wanted to tell you guys about. I forget what it was. I forgot to write it down. See, when you don't write stuff down, this is what happens. This is what happens. Oh, it's going to come to me as soon as we end the broadcast. I'm going to go, oh, that's what I wanted to say. That's going to happen. But yeah, so make sure you go check out all the videos on the channel. More videos are coming. David's coming up next week. We're going to do a bunch of videos together. Maybe going to get a Wes Audio NG level. That'll be really cool to maybe wire it up to the buses on the console just to try it from the automation standpoint. Might be fun. Audioscape interview coming up soon. And then stay tuned to the Trinnov stuff when that comes. Lexidon 10. Hey, Lexidon. How are you, my friend? Hey, Dave. How's the PreSonus converters holding up? Any regrets ditching the Apollos? None. They work fine. They work fine. I haven't had a single issue with them. They're on and they never shut off. They're on every single day. No regrets ditching the Apollos at all. Again, the Apollos are great products. But again, I wasn't really, the converters in the Apollos versus the Quantums, I'm willing to bet they're, if not the same, so unbelievably close you can't hear the difference. People have asked me a bunch of times to try some higher end converters and compare them. I would love to do that, but the cost would be too much. It would just be too much. I've tried to get a couple of sponsored videos to try to not to borrow, but I haven't been successful. I would love to try Apogee. Apogee makes a 32 IO for about $6,000, which I have 64 IO. Way more expensive than the Quantums. But Apogee has been known for making stellar conversion boxes. But I'm not going to spend $6,000 to just try it when I don't think it's going to be much of a difference. But if someone wanted to send me one on loan, I would love to try it and compare it so we can all hear the difference. But yeah, no regrets going to the PreSonus Quantums. They sounded, like in the videos we did, to me, identical to the Apollos from a sound perspective, although there's still people that will say they hear a difference. I don't hear a difference. A lot of my engineering friends didn't hear a difference. Guys that work in this industry that mix all the time. All the time. So I don't know. No, I think they were great. You can't get the Quantum 4848 anymore. They've been discontinued. You can't find them on the used market. So you'd be hard pressed to find them. But for the price, I don't think you could beat them. But if by some magical way I was able to test a converter like an Apogee that really sounded better than the Quantums, like I mean really audibly sounded better, I would buy it. I just like the Trinnov. Same kind of concept in my head for what I do here as a business. If that Trinnov wasn't head and shoulders above the Sonar Works from a finished product point of view, I would have sent it right back. But it wasn't. I had no idea if that thing was going to be worth the money, and it was. Same thing with the converters. If I had a set of Apogee converters in here, or RME or somebody else, and it really sounded like I could actually hear the difference, and even if it was only about a 10% difference, would I make that business investment? Probably. Why? Because I do this for a living and I want to give my client the absolute best product I can give them at the price point that I charge them. And so I would do it. But until I hear it, I'm not convinced that one is, I think you'd be very, very hard pressed to hear the difference. But I could be wrong about that. Braxel says, you love your RME. Yeah, it's over 3K. Yeah, but see, here's the problem. I'm not looking for an 8 or a 10 or a 12 channel interface. I have to have a minimum. Actually, I got 32 is the bare minimum, 32 IO. But honestly, I have 64. I don't use all 64, but I use 40, 48. And most of these boxes are in buckets of 8, 16, 32. So I would need 64 IO. 64 IO, you know, is going to cost me a fortune. You know what I mean? We're talking 10, 12 grand. That's why, and part of me says, hey, you can always buy it and send it back to Sweetwater if it doesn't sound any good. And I could. And maybe one day I'll do that. We'll see. I don't know. For no other reason as I just want to know if there's a difference. And I think we'd all like to know if there's a difference. He says, try MRME, you'll hear the difference. Maybe. You might be right. You might be right. But I don't know if RME makes a box of 32 IO. I don't think they do. Maybe they do. I shouldn't say that. I've only looked at a couple of their things just as curiosity. I don't think they make a box that will do all the IO that I need for a console. And that's the problem is, I need so much IO. That's why the Quantums are such a great value because of that. Because you get a lot of IO for the money. But yeah, I don't have any problems with them. But yes, I would love to try. So what else? What else we got, guys? We're going to wind it down here. This was a lot of fun. Thanks for hanging out with me. Yeah, if I wasn't, one of these days we're actually going to do some mixing demos here. I'm in the middle of a mix, so I couldn't do that tonight. But we are going to do that soon. I just got to get in between projects and get a live stream together where we can actually pull up a session. I would love to do some live streams where maybe like one live stream, we take the DBX 160 compressor and we pull up a session, we put it on everything, put it on a kick, a snare, toms, overheads, acoustics, electrics, bass, and just have a whole live stream on just a single piece of gear and find out all its different uses and where it sounds good or where it sounds better, or what do you like or what do you don't like. That might be some cool content. We're gonna get to that. Rusty Notes TV. Hey Rusty, what's up my friend? Don't have a question, just want to say thanks for what you do. Hope you get hard rock mixing video on the desk. Hard rock, I got some, hard rock? I got some hard rock stuff. See, there's a lot of stuff that I have that I can't use on YouTube because of copyright stuff. But, I just did, there's an Inside the Mix coming up on a Joe Satriani style song. That's kind of rock, almost hard rock. I have a couple other stuff. I can't share it on YouTube, but that's the problem. It's the problem. So if anybody, you know, again, I'm always looking for good sessions, good quality productions, by the way, that are not with a publishing house or not with a label or CD Baby or anything like that, that I can actually use on YouTube. If I get some good quality stuff, I try to help out artists. I'm willing to promote your music and I'm willing to promote your website. If you want to send me the multi-tracks and give me the rights to use it without any, you know, payment involved, and it's just, you know, you let me use your music, I'll promote your stuff. I'm willing to listen. But it has to be something that's not with a publishing, not with a label, not non-CD Baby or anything like that, because then I can't use it. So if someone has something, reach out to me via the website, through an email, and I'd love to talk to you. Oh, Rusty said you can give me some. Okay, great, Rusty. If you have something that can fit that criteria that I can actually use it without getting thrown off of YouTube, I'd be happy to talk to you. The only stuff that I don't really like to get when we get into hard rock is when we get into that like kind of death metal, Cookie Monster, screamo vocals. I like more melodic metal, stuff like that. I'd love to do it. When it gets really, really hardcore, that's just not my bag. But if you have something that kind of fits in there and you want to send me a couple of MP3s, and if I can use it on YouTube and not get copyright stricken, that would be great. I would love to do it. I love helping promote other artists that way. That's how we did Lady in the Wildfire that's been on the channel recently, Jupiter Groove, Barry Diger, Lori Cole, a lot of these artists that have these kinds of productions. Some of those people, Elm Treason, some of those people are my clients that have paid me to do some work with them, but they own their own music. So I'm allowed to use their music on YouTube with their permission. And so, yeah, I would love to talk to someone with some hard rock as long as it kind of fits all that criteria. Reach out to me. I'd love to do it. Love to do it. Oh, the Eagles Rage says that'd be great content. Oh yeah, you mean with the gear? Yeah, I mean it'll be fun. It'll be danger for your wallet. Yeah, because you'll hear a piece of gear and go, I gotta have it. But I think that would be fun. And you know, that also gives me an opportunity, as much as I try to schedule it in, it's not always possible based on my client demand. But you know, whether you're working with plugins or with hardware, I say this all the time about your tools, right? You gotta know your tools. You gotta schedule time to where you can use your tools, whether it's, you know, a piece of hardware or a plugin, on everything. Twist the knobs, exaggerate, make it sound like crap, make it sound good, find out where it works well. And you make those mental notes so you can use it in your future productions. And so doing some content like that will give me an opportunity, it'll force me to say, okay, I gotta schedule some time so I can work with this stuff. Some of the stuff I've done that with, some of it I have not. So yeah, that'll be fun. I think that'll be some good, interesting content, and you guys will get a chance to hear, you know, what a certain piece of gear sounds like on every different element. And is it versatile enough for your particular needs? And maybe that's something you'll go out and buy. Let's see, I'm very appreciative you do the live streams and videos, Dave. Thanks you, my friend. As you know, as soon as you post, I'm right there to watch. I know you are, Braxel. I do appreciate it. I'm glad that you guys are getting something out of the channel. because if you guys weren't getting anything out of the channel, I wouldn't be doing it. So no, that's great. And I do appreciate everybody's support. Any word on the 476p? I have no word on that yet. I've heard about the UAD 476p, but I don't have any other information on it. As soon as I do, you guys will know. How's the Wes Audio 1176? Awesome. I have to do a video on it. I used it on the last 2 mixes, once on piano, once on acoustic guitar. Sounds really good. And it's got all those Wes Audio modern style features in it. You know, it's recallable, plug-in, control nice. It's got several levels of harmonic distortion built in, which is great. They modeled a couple of different 1176s in there, so it's a really versatile 1176. It's really nice. And again, for the price point, I think it's 1,300 bucks. You can't beat it. For all it can do, it's really nice. But yeah, there'll be a video coming in the future, probably in the summer. Eagle Rage says, I can as well send various genres with all my projects submitted. Yeah, I mean, certainly reach out to me. Again, I'm always looking for stuff that I got tons of sessions. 80% of them I can't use on YouTube. I can use them for training, like in the hybrid mixing courses and stuff, if you guys have checked those out. By the way, if David has J's here, if you don't mind, Dave, put the hybrid mixing course link in the website. There's $100 off this weekend on the hybrid mixing pop. Some of these tracks I can use for courses and for training content, but I can't use them on YouTube for you guys. So if you guys have stuff, I'm looking for all genres, hard rock, blues, jazz. I have a lot of country right now, funk, Americana. I'm willing to take a listen to anything, but again, there's a couple of things that I need, and I know you guys know this, but again, for people watching the replay. Number one, it can't be with a label, publishing house, CD baby. I have to be able to use it on YouTube with your permission, so I don't get copyrights. That's the first thing. Second thing, it's got to be well recorded, well performed, good recorded tracks. It can't be crappy productions. It's got to be good songs, well recorded. Doesn't mean it has to be recorded in a multi-million-dollar studio. Most of the stuff I mix for people are at home studios, but there's good productions. It's got to be good quality stuff. So we don't have to worry about, because when we're on this channel focusing on the sound of the gear or on the workflow, we want to have a good session. So as long as it fits that criteria, and you know, in exchange, if you have a band, artist, website, you want me to help promote your stuff, cross promote, we can help each other, I'm all for it, helping artists. I'm all for it. Because if you allow me to use your content, you're going to get promotion, you're going to get eyeballs, and I'll put in the description box all your links. So you'll get some free promotion out of it, and I get some good content that nobody has that we can use to learn from. So that's awesome. So yeah, Eagles Rage, reach out to me, send me a few MP3 samples of some stuff. I'd love to check it out, man. And I do appreciate anybody that's willing to do that. I like helping people. Rusty bought a UC1 in the UFA thanks to me. Okay. You showed your wife the videos and helped convince her. Oh, good. So you love me, but your wife probably hates me. Hey, man, those are great products. That UC1 and UF8, if you're all in the box and you're into the SSL thing's great. So congratulations. Hope your wife doesn't hate me too much. Hey, tell your wife at least you didn't see the video and ask her to go out and buy an SSL console. That's the way you justify it, you see. You say, look, I could spend about 2,000 bucks on my SSL controllers, or I could go out and spend 60,000 on a console because Dave said to. David SJ just put the, thank you, David, just put the links in the description here for the hybrid mixing. I have 2 of them. One's coming out in the summer, but this one here, pop rock, you're gonna dig this one. This is a song you can't find anywhere else. By an awesome artist, $100 off this weekend on the course. There's a coupon code right on the website. Go check it out. Do I take instrumentals? Absolutely. Absolutely. Because I get most of the stuff I get doesn't have all has vocals, so it's great to have some instrumentals. That's why I just did a band recently, Jupiter Groove, Joe Satriani style, all instrumental, fantastic. Coming up on the channel soon. So yes, yeah, instrumentals, certainly, certainly. Are you using an external clock? No, I'm using the clock inside of one of the Quantums. And again, I know, well, I'm not well versed in it, but I know people have advantages about using external clocks and all that stuff. And I've read a little bit about that, but I've never felt the need to try that, at least at this stage. But no, I'm just using the clock and the Quantums, and again, everything seems to work. I don't know. You know, I don't have any problems. Like I said, you know, at the end of the day, there's one thing that matters. Do my clients like the product that I'm sending them? And they do, because they come back. And I'm busier now than I've ever been. So the products that I'm sending them, the mixes I'm sending them, they're enjoying, and that's all that matters to me. So the gear that I'm using seems to be working for them, and if it's working for them, it's working for me. But no, I don't have an external clock. Oh, your wife likes me? Great. Tell her I like her too. Don't get mad. Oh, okay, well, your wife's not gonna like me if you start hitting her up for a console. She's gonna make you unsubscribe from the channel. Right? Yeah, this is all fun. You only live once, right? You're having fun and you have the money, enjoy it. If it's not broke, don't fix it. Yeah, that's how I see it too. You know, I like trying new things, but yeah, I don't, you know, I try to be very, at least with the analog stuff, right? Much more so than plugins. Plugins, I'll take a chance, right? I'll try out just about anything. It's cheap. But with hardware, in gear, you know, it gets real expensive, as you guys know. So I got to be very selective about what I buy, and it really has to make a difference. I mean, if for me to spend, you know, a grand or more on something, it's really got to make a difference, or have something that I don't already have that adds to my tool chest, then I'm willing to take a look at it. But if it doesn't, or it's just the next new shiny thing, or it's the next new, you know, product everybody's trying to sell to you, I try to stay away from that. I try to keep it, I mean, I know it looks like I have a lot of gear. I don't have a ton of gear. I have a real limited amount of gear, and I try to keep the tools and the process simple. Simple, simple. And so, yeah. So yeah, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. All right, man. 5 more minutes and then we're out of here. So, if you have any other questions, ask now, and then I'm gonna go eat some dinner with the wife and the daughter. And then hopefully get back to work tomorrow here, finishing up this EP for the client. Maybe one day I'll be able to share some of this stuff with you. Can't yet because it's not been released yet. But yeah, we'll do another live stream in another couple of weeks. Hopefully by then I'll be between projects. We can get some stuff on the console. I wonder why they discontinued the 4848. I think that, again, the unofficial reason, my opinion is, again, because I don't really know, is it was really discontinued at the time where the pandemic kind of hit, and there was all kinds of part shortages and factory shutdowns. And I think that temporary, and also too, that coupled with the fact that PreSonus, they don't sell a lot of the Quantums. They don't sell a lot of high-end audio gear. They make some, but that's not their customer base. Their customer base is the $99 interface. And so I think it just became economics. I think they looked at it and probably said, we don't sell enough of these to warrant building them in mass quantities. That would be my guess. I don't know that for sure. Hey, who knows? Maybe they'll come out with a new one soon. But yeah, my guess is that they weren't selling a lot of them. You know, not enough people are buying that kind of product from them. They're more of the affordable. Some people would say budget, but I don't want to budget, meaning that it's not cheap crap. They make good stuff, but at a price point. You know, their audio interfaces sub $1,000. They make some of the best interfaces in that $500 to $700 range that's out there. Like we said earlier, very similar to the Focusrite Mo 2, that quality. Really good stuff. but their customer base is that. Their customer base isn't $1,500 interfaces, $2,000 interfaces. They're just not. Which is unfortunate because, again, I have 2 of them and I think they're great. What's the little desk that I'm using? Oh, this? Oh, I just bought it on Amazon. It's a little sidecar. So when I'm, as you can see, I have notes and my laptop, so I don't have things all over the console. I bought it on Amazon. It's one of those, you can actually, it'll go up and down so I can stand if I want. I don't know, it's probably 150 bucks I paid for it. Just a little cheap desk I bought on Amazon. JNR Studio. Hey brother, have you ever thought of later on upgrading to a higher converters like the Lynx, Antelope, Burl, etc.? I got to use Lynx MK1 and love how it made all my gear sound better. Yeah, we were talking about that earlier. You know, when I went to the Quantums from the Apollo, the reason why I did it was the sound was identical to my ear. And they were 1/6 the price. And I was able to sell all my Apollos and buy a bunch more gear. I've considered it. But honestly, I didn't hear any difference between the PreSonus and the Apollos. I would love to try Burl. I'm not really interested in, although I know they're very colored transformers and stuff, and that's a vibe. I wouldn't want that. I would want more of a very clean, transparent converter. I would love to try something like an Apogee or an Antelope, but there's to get the I/O that I need for this console, it cost me over 10,000 bucks. And I'm just not convinced it will sound any better than the PreSonus Quantums. I know people will tell me I'm crazy. And I've tried, like I've said earlier, I've reached out to a couple of these companies. Antelope was one of them. And said, hey, will you loan me one? I'd love to do a video and compare them. No, they're not interested in working with a guy like me. Number one, my YouTube channel's not big enough. Number two, they've probably seen some of my videos and they know if it doesn't sound any different to my ear than the Quantums, I'm going to say it on video, and those companies don't want that. Because they don't want me to tell you a $1,500 box sounds the same as a $5,000 box, which is the case with the Apollos. So I understand, you know, and then part of me has said, as I said a bit ago, you know, I can always buy one from Sweetwater, and if it doesn't sound any different, do the video and send it back. You know, I would love to try one for no other reason as I'm curious myself, because honestly, my gut tells me, and I could be wrong, my gut tells me you're going to struggle to hear the difference in the conversion. That's what my gut tells me. Now, unless I try it, I don't know. So, have I considered it? Yes. Will it eventually happen here? You know, Uncle Dave is Uncle Dave is crazy. If I was willing to try a Trinnov, I'm willing to try converters. It's just not going to happen yet. I would love to borrow one. Just 32 I/O. I don't need to do 64. Give me 32 I/O. Let me compare it to one of those Quantums and see if it sounds any better. And if it does, I mean, if it really sounds better, the end result, would I buy it? Yes. In a heartbeat. Just like I bought the Trinnov. As soon as I heard it and compared it, and here's a credit card. Worth every penny. And maybe the converter's like that too, JNR, I don't know. We'll see. Do I ever see dumping Studio One for Luna? No. Only because for this, well, people have asked me, why don't you, what about over here? You know, I have my in the box rig that I use Studio One. What about over here on the SSL? The truth is over here, I'm only using the DAW really as a tape machine. I use very few plugins, if any. It's just to get the audio in and out of the computer. So I wouldn't really be using Luna over here because I use mostly hardware. In the box rig, I don't know, I've been using Studio One a long time, man. Luna would really have to, like I said, there's a few things with Luna still that need to be fixed. I can't see that I would stop using Studio One for Luna. I could see myself using Luna on occasion more and more from an education point of view to do videos and training content. Yeah. If they fix some of the things, yeah. Because I do like Luna. I think it is really cool. But there's no plans to dump Studio One for Luna. I might use them both. Over here, maybe I would use it to try it to see how it would work in the workflow. Again, just to bring information to show you how it works, but not to dump Studio One, I wouldn't think. Eagles Rage, I know you're getting ready to wrap up, but how do you stay motivated working on music that either isn't the greatest or you're not interested in it? Well, it's real simple. With clients, well, I've said this before. You may not have heard me say this. I would say about 25% of the stuff the jobs that come across my desk, I'll politely decline for one reason or another. Usually it's for some of the reason you just mentioned. I don't work on stuff that I'm not interested in or music that I don't like. I don't work on stuff that doesn't have good production value, isn't well-written songs, and isn't well recorded. I don't have to love it, but I have to at least, I like lots of different styles and lots of different genres of music, so I'm not that hard to please from that point of view. But like, for example, I get asked an awful lot to do rap. I don't do rap. Why? I don't like rap. Do I think the music is a lesser than the music I like? No. Rap artists are great musicians. To make beats and those kinds of things is an absolute craft and a skill, but it doesn't do anything for me. I don't listen to it in my personal away from business life, so I'm not familiar with the music enough. I have no interest in doing rap, but I get asked to do mixed rap a lot, and I turn it down every single time for that reason. Same thing with the really, as we talked about earlier, the really hardcore metal, like where the, rah, 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 rah vocals. Again, the musicianship, stellar. Awesome, niche kind of a music. It's just not for me, so I won't work on that stuff. So the answer to your question is, I only work on stuff that excites me and motivates me. When it comes to working with clients, the rest of the stuff is more educational stuff, and that always excites me, teaching about mixing, mastering, recording, compression, EQ, gear. That's the bulk of my business. But the client work, I handpick the stuff I work with. I handpick it. I could mix for clients even more than I do today, but I turn it down if I don't like it. So that's how it is. And I know a lot of guys are not in that position. They have to, if they're mixing engineers, they have to mix because they need to make a living and they need to mix stuff they don't like or mix stuff that isn't well recorded and all that. I'm very fortunate that I'm not in that position. The bulk of my business is not mixing, and it never will be, not because it can't be, because I don't want it to be. Because I want to be able to educate more than anything else. And handpick the clients that I work with, and when I find clients that have good stuff that I want to help, I can make some money at it as well. I love helping them. And then, like I said a little earlier with some of you guys, I like working with artists that are not my clients necessarily, but are really good artists, got really good music, that maybe need some promotion, that need to get the word out, and we can do a barter, right? Your music for your sessions for promotion. I love doing that, and I don't make anything from that. Yeah, I'll make a little bit of ad money on YouTube, but this channel's not big enough. I don't make any ad money. I make pennies here, pennies. So it's not really for the money. It's more for the love and the joy and to try to help artists. And that's how I stay motivated. I don't do any of this stuff for money. I do it for the love of it, and I love teaching, and I love that whole aspect of it. And a byproduct of that is I do make money at it, but it's not the bulk of my business. Hope that answers your question. Oop. Antelope still has driver issues on both Mac and PC on their forum. Oh, okay, I don't know much about, yeah, okay. That's good to know. Tracy says, Dave, SoundRadix Auto Align 2, I have it. Have you tried it? Yes. You used it on your drums, great results. I do get a noticeable improvement on my live drum recordings. Much more punch on the tracks. Yeah, I have Auto Align 2. I paid the upgrade price. I think we talked about that a couple of live streams ago. I've used it a couple of times. It seems to work really good. It's much faster than using the first version. there's some videos on YouTube, people say there's a better sound difference between the second one and the first one. I don't notice that much of a sound difference, but what I will tell you, the difference is that, as you know, it's super fast to use. And unlike the first version, the second version, according to their user manual, is you put it on every track, not just drums, on every track in your session. And then it does all its voodoo under the hood to phase align everything in the session, which is kind of cool. So I've had some pretty good results with it. But I haven't done a video on it yet because I've only used it twice. Hey Dave, do you print with the PreSonus or a dedicated A to D? With the PreSonus. And again, people have said to me you should get a better print, use your PreSonus for all your main I/O, and then have a stereo A to D, high quality for the print track. That's something else I'd like to try at one point. Honestly, I'd probably be more apt to try that first because it'd be a lot cheaper. But right now, the way it sits, I print with the PreSonus. Braxel says, honest, when I hooked up your RME, you heard a huge difference. Yeah, I don't deny that you've heard a huge difference. Maybe you did. And maybe if I got a real high-end set of converters in here, I would hear a difference. All I know is I had them in here with the Apollos and there was no difference. And the Apollo was way more expensive than the PreSonus Quantums. But that doesn't mean these other ones wouldn't be better. I don't know. Slim Creep says, all Dave would probably need is a dedicated AD for print. Maybe. Again, I'd love to try it. If I printed a mix back into the Quantum and then printed a mix back in with this other high-end one, would there be any difference in the final result? I don't know. I would be surprised if there were. And again, that's just from me not having the experience to know. I don't know. My gut tells me there wouldn't really be a difference, but I could be completely wrong. And you know Uncle Dave, if I brought a unit in here and there was a difference, I would tell you there's a difference. And I would say I was wrong, and then I would have to pull out my Sweetwater card and buy the damn unit. Because if there was a difference, I would. And maybe one day we'll try that. That would be a much quicker test in a hookup for me to just take my third Quantum and just put the print track in on the new high-end converter. Maybe at one point, I would try it. But I don't know. JNR says he had a Quantum 2632 and upgraded to the Lynx Aurora 16, and the difference was noticeable. Cool. I bet you would hear it. Great. Love your channel. Awesome. How much of a difference? 10%, 5%, 2%, 50%? What would you say the honest, conservative, what would you say the conservative difference was between a Lynx 16, Aurora 16? Because that's what, a $3,000 box? It's in that ballpark, right? What would you say the conservative, honest difference was percentage-wise? I found you thanks to Studio One videos. Oh, cool. We can't give it up. No, I love Studio One. Okay, David S.J.'s got to go. See you later, Dave. I'll talk to you during the week, and we'll firm up our plans for next week. David S.J. coming back to the channel. The Quantum 26 and 36 digital Quantums do not have the same converters. Okay, if you're speaking from experience, then you know more than me, my friend, and I'm sure you're right. Oh, I gotta scroll down. The Creative, hey, the Creative, Dangerous Music and Lynx converters are the way to go. Yeah, the one I was looking at one point, what is it called? The Convert 2, the Dangerous Music. I've heard they make really good stuff. Who knows? Maybe one day I'll... Well, here's what I'll say. Here's what I could promise you. Sometime probably this year. A 2-channel converter test, the print track deal, I would be a lot more willing to try that because again, the cost would be much less than trying to buy 64 IO. I'm just not ready to drop $12,000 right now. But $3,000, I would buy it from Sweetwater. I would try it. I would bring you the honest results in a video, and then I would either keep it or send it back. That's a little easier to stomach than going the whole 64 IO. So that test would be interesting and something that I would be a lot more willing to try. And again, maybe I'll reach out to Dangerous Music. I never considered reaching out to them directly. Send me the box, let me borrow it. If it's great, I'll buy it. It doesn't have to be a sponsored video. You don't have to give me the gear necessarily, although that would be helpful, but you don't have to do that. I'm not gonna keep it if it's not better. And I mean, it has to be better. I mean, it really has to be better. It can't just be, well, I think if I have to spend 15 minutes trying to hear the difference, it's not better, right? If I have to listen to it 5, 6, 8, like if we printed a mix back in, just like with the Apollo test. Because if you listen to anything long enough, you can convince yourself of anything, you hear a difference. I mean, if we print the 2 mixes back in and in the first 2 listens, I can really hear the difference, I'll buy it. But look, who knows, man? Who knows? Yeah, and Lexidon makes a good point. For $3,000 more in price, there better be a noticeable difference. The Quantum is a $1,500 unit. Well, let me be fair now. Let's be accurate, right? I have 3 Quantums, 2 4848s, which are the 32 IOs, the 64. Yes, and we are printing back in through the Quantum 4848. We are not printing back in through the 2626, which is where the monitor section is. So, but that's a $1,500 box. So, if one of these other ones is $3,000, $4,000, and it's 3 times the price, there has to be a noticeable difference. And there might be. Jamie says, hi Jamie, you compare the microphones in the auto align too. For example, phase align the overheads and then perhaps the snare top and bottom. Yeah. I saw that, but you know what I found, Jamie, with the few times that I've used it, it actually did a really good job when you put it on all the tracks. It grouped all the drums together, grouped all the guitars together. Actually, the AI or whatever they're using in there actually did a pretty good job. But you're right, I read the manual. I have to get a little deeper into it. I know you could go in and you can manually do things, you can manipulate things, you can manually group and pair things to make it a little more maybe accurate. But I gotta say, it actually worked. It actually did a really good job figuring all that stuff out. I was pretty surprised. The Creative says that the Dangerous Music A to D is the way to go. Yeah, that was the one I looked at. That's about $3,000, right? So that's about double the price of the Quantum. But again, it's not the same. The Quantum's a 32 IO. This is only a stereo. So again, you got to be careful when you talk about price. You also got to look at what the features of the box are too. You know, but yeah, you know, so the price tag isn't just for the converter, it's for all the other features. John 415 says that you print with a Tascam DA3000 master recorder. Cool. You printed a higher sample rate. Makes sense. Lexidon says there's a big difference with a dedicated A to D plus a better clock in the dedicated A to D. I promise you it's a 15% better than any standard interfaces A to D. Okay. So if you use the dedicated print box, A to D, you would use their clock, right? Their clock. Because I would still have to make it like an aggregate device because it'd have to be with the 2 PreSonus Quantums, my 48, so I can, right? Because we're working analog here. You promise a 15% difference. 15% difference would make me buy it. The Dangerous Music sounds interesting. Oh, JNR says he had a typo in his last comment. The Quantum is great, but I feel the difference was like 10%, more with definition and depth. Great. I kind of feel like my Quantum is a little muddy in the low mids. Okay. 10%, 15%, okay. Yeah, and that, you know, and honestly, I'm more curious now because to me that is probably, my gut would tell me that's probably a fair assessment. If anybody told me it was 50% better, 60% better, I would be a little bit, because I don't believe there's one out there that's that much better. 10, 15%, that's a sizable difference, and that's probably more what I would expect. Just like what I talked about the Trinnov versus the Sonar work. It's about a 10 or 15% improvement. And in this game, 15% is huge. That's a huge number. So I believe you. If you're saying 10, you guys are saying 10, 15%, that's probably what I would think it would be. Any thoughts, hey Jamie, on the A to D converters in the Neumann? I don't know. Neumann makes awesome stuff. I've never used it. That's an expensive box too for what it is. But they make great stuff. I mean, right? They make real high-end gear. But what's the converters? I have no idea. When you reach high-end converters like the ones mentioned, they all almost sound the same. I would probably agree with that. It's all about the music, yeah. So whether you're talking about a Burl, which is a little bit of a different animal because they have the transformers, those are more colored. But whether you're talking about Apogee, Antelope, Dangerous Music, when you're in that, what are we talking about? $3,000 to $4,000, right? For a stereo, just for the print track. When we're talking about $3,000 in that price bracket, the three brands are probably going to, again, they're probably going to be the same or pretty close to the same. I would agree. The question is that, say, $3,000 converter better than a $1,500 box from PreSonus? You would hope so. It might be. Lexidon says you can clock the whole setup via digital connection. Which box is that? Is that the Dangerous Music? Right, it's the A to D is the one, because they make an A to D and a D to A. We don't want a D to A, because we're getting that from the Quantums. We want it going back in, right? We want an analog to digital stereo just for the print track, right? That's what we're talking about. And then you set that up in the Mac with an aggregate device with the two Quantums, and you choose the clock. You're saying choose the, in our case, the Dangerous Music. The Dangerous Music would be one I would like to try. Kibo Red, hey Kibo. Oops. Wants to know, hey, wondering if you didn't go with any Manley outboard hardware. Do you think their stuff is too pricey for what it is? Say the very new, no reason. I've never looked at Manley. It wasn't on my radar. I used a couple of the UAD plugins. I thought they were pretty impressive. I know they're very expensive, and at the time, I have a very new compressor. I have the Audioscape V-Comp, and I really like it. And so had nothing to do with it. Just wasn't one of the pieces on my radar when we were first picking out all the gear. Lexicon says, Lexidon, I keep calling you Lexicon, like the Lexicon Reverb. Lexidon says, yes, a Dangerous A to D Plus. And that's about a $3,000 box. Yeah, the Creative is saying the same thing. Okay, guys, you guys are going to get me to buy the damn thing and try it. But that's the beauty, right? Like I tell you guys, buy it. I'm going to buy it from Sweetwater because they're my boys. And, I know if I don't like it or if I don't think it's worth the investment, I'm going to put it right back in the box and send it back. But if it's 10 or 15% better and I hear what you guys are hearing, I'm going to tell you. And we'll do it. And then I'll buy it. I'll buy it. I'll buy it if I hear a 10% difference, like if we listen to those two tracks, A, B, A, B, A, B, and we go, wow, there's definitely a sense of difference there, then absolutely. So that'll be the first one I'll take a look at. Jamie says he likes SonarWorks, but yet the problem... Hold on 1 minute here, guys. Okay, sorry. Jamie says, I like SonarWorks, yet the problem with the process is it seems like the imaging of your mix, it smears, excuse me. It smears the imaging of your mix with the correction. It doesn't fix the inherent phase distortions in your room. Exactly, Jamie. The biggest difference between the sound or the resultant sound of SonarWorks versus the Trinnov, in my opinion, and believe me, I A/B'd that thing for 45 minutes, is exactly what you just said. When actually I think I showed you in the video, I put up the two EQ curves that both products provided and they were almost exactly the same. The difference is in the phase. That's the difference, and that makes a big difference. And I said that in the video. The SonarWorks sounded really good. But when you A/B'd it against the Trinnov, the SonarWorks, here's the analogy that I use, and I think this is the perfect description of it for me. If you are looking through your windshield in your car, a brand new car or brand new window, it's crystal clear. There isn't a bug, a smear, nothing on it, no light film, a dirt from the road, nothing. That's the Trinnov. SonarWorks to me was like looking out that same window, but it had a little light film on it. Like you can still see, you didn't need to turn the windshield wipers on to see where you were going, but it had like a light film on it. It felt smeared is the word. That was the biggest difference. And the low end, because of those phase issues, when you clear up that phase issues, not only do you get rid of that smearing effect, but you also get a more tight, focused, punchy low end. That was the difference. And it was about a 10% difference. The dangerous, yes. Braxel says, just bag the unit and try it. I know. It's easy to say when it's not your credit card. We're going to try it. I'll make a commitment to you. We will try a print track, a stereo A to D. We will try one. And probably the dangerous music, because that's what you guys seem to like. And I've used some dangerous music stuff in the past, and they make good, high quality product. And from what I understand, theirs is supposed to be a very transparent conversion, and that's what I want. I don't want a color conversion like the Burl. I'm sure that's great, but I want something clean. I don't want it adding anything to the audio. So that's the one I think I'll try. We will do that. We'll try it. Makes sense. Fatso would be what I would think you'd go with the next, since you have a couple of distressors. Well, the Fatso, people have asked me about the Fatso. I'd love to try one, but you know what? That's like a tape emulation thing, right? I already got the Neve 542 Porticos, and I love those. So again, with gear choice, because I have limited space in the racks, if it's redundant, I'm getting rid of it. Just like the SSL Fusion is why I sold it. It wasn't that it wasn't a great box, but I have something else that a little bit more flexible in my opinion, and it was redundant. So I don't know that the Fatso would make sense for me, only because I already have the Neves and I love them. And I wouldn't want to have both, although people would say, well, you can use the Fatso on your drum bus and you can use your Neve on the master bus. No, I get that. I get that. Jamie says he's considering purchasing a Lynx. What other options are similar? People in the chat will have to tell you, because I don't know. As you know, I don't have any experience with that stuff. You'll have to ask them. All right, guys, we've been on here a while. I'm starting to get hungry. What have we been on here? Over 2 hours. 2 hours, 14 minutes. And we have how many people we got here? We got a lot of people here still? We got 34 people. You guys are great, man. Again, I really do appreciate you guys joining. I appreciate you guys supporting the channel and everything that I'm doing here. It really does help. I'm glad you're getting so much out of the channel, and I'm having a ton of fun, you know, talking about this stuff and bringing videos and learning and sharing my experience with you guys. And if I help you in any way, great, great. That's what this channel is all about. It's about really understanding the workflow, really understanding the gear, how it differs from working all in the box, and most importantly, being completely 100% transparent and honest. As I've said a million times, and a lot of you guys know, but again, if you're new here, like some of you guys were here tonight, this is not a sponsored channel like all the other channels that are out there selling you gear. I don't care whether you buy any of this stuff. Yes, all my links in the description are all Sweetwater affiliate links, no matter what you buy, and I really appreciate you using them. But I'm not here trying to sell you anything. I don't care whether you buy any of this stuff or not. Like the Trinnov, I get nothing if you go out and buy a Trinnov. Like that Empress EQ I just did a review on. I think it's the best stereo bus EQ for 2,000 bucks you can buy. I don't get a penny if you buy one. I'm not sponsored, so I'm just sharing with you stuff that I pay for with my own money. And if I think it's helpful to me, I try to share it with you, and that's it. And so that's what I think is really different about what I do than most other channels, is most other channels are sponsored. Most other channels, all the gear is given to them. Most of the channel, everything in their studio, they didn't pay for, or the majority of it. All this stuff I paid for, with the exception of a handful of pieces from Audioscape. And I bought Audioscape stuff too, and I love them. But they're the only company I've ever worked with where we've exchanged videos for product. And one other thing you want to keep in mind about when you watch a lot of other channels and they do gear reviews and tell you how the gear is so great, go back a month from now and see if that gear is still sitting in their studio, or did they just flip it after they did the video. Every piece of gear I've done a review on in here is still here, except for like the Fusion, which I just sold, which I paid for. And I think I sold a couple of those Line 6 delay units, which I paid for. But when you see a review on a piece of gear here, it's because I like it and I keep it. Doesn't mean that we won't replace it. Like the Dangerous Music may replace one of these Quantums. Maybe it will. But I bought those Quantums. Presonus didn't give those to me. So I want you guys to always be careful when you're watching YouTube videos that, remember, there's very few channels out there that give you the unbiased, honest opinion because they're sponsored and they're paid for. This channel's not that. And my wife tells me this channel should be that because I'd make a lot more money. But I don't want to do that. I want to give you guys, I want to tell you the truth. And so you know that I'm telling you the truth about this stuff. You may not agree with me. You may hear things differently. We all hear things differently. That's totally cool. But I'm just trying to bring you a very honest, unbiased opinion about all this stuff, and I hope it helps. So anyway, with that said, thanks so much again, everybody, for your support. Keep your eye on the channel. Like, share, subscribe. Share this video. Share my channel on your socials if you wouldn't mind. Other musicians and people that you know in these circles, it really does help. And I will see you guys very soon. Okay? Thanks, everybody. Have a great evening.